Tuesdays the vibe, the clock hits 8. No filters here, just talk that straight. Laugh so loud it can shake the gate. Facebook fam always pulling their weight. We hit live, roll out the streets, we roam. Truth in the mic, we don't play clone. Real ones know this is where it's grown. No bravado, just a real top zone. No bravado, that's the code. We go live and we unload. Real talk flows never slow. Facebook crew, that's the road. No bravado, no disguise. Tuesday nights we energize. Truth and laughter we baptize. Tune in fam, we're on the rise.
Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, Spotlight listeners. Hey, DMT, what's
Hey,
good?
good evening, everyone. We
Good
had a little technical issue, you know?
Yes.
Oh,
No. StreamYard can be a little bit tricky as well.
yeah. I might need to. Are we live?
Yeah, we're live.
Oh, oh, shit. Then hold on.
Yeah, it's 8, so I had to press the
Yeah,
button.
I know. I was just concentrating on me being here on time. I wasn't too concentrated on the things that people can see. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. How you doing?
Oh, babes, it's. I'm good. It's just
Hmm.
life is life, and I've got
Okay.
one child to send back to university, another one to send to the last year of sixth form. Life is just life, in. That's how it is.
Right. But you're doing it though, getting
Yeah.
through it.
And you? What's going in for the legacy builder? Come on. Come on. It was an honor,
Thank
man.
you
It
for
really was.
coming on Saturday. It was such a good day. Like it's been this year has been a really interesting year. Um
Mm,
it has there's been many achievements um and just things just happening. So like I don't know if I told you the story about how I ended up getting the boutique, but I went to get my eyebrows done on that strip.
mm-hmm.
And there's an African lady, a Nigerian lady that sells bags there. So she stopped me. She was like, "Oh, I love that necklace set you're wearing." So I was like, "Oh, I make and design them." So she was like, "I think you should try and get one of these shops along here because no one sells the stuff that you sell. Like no one's got nothing like that, and I think you would do well." And I was like, "Oh, okay, thanks. I'll think about it." And it just wouldn't leave my spirit. It just kept her words just kept ringing and ringing and ringing. So I went back and I said to her, "Do you know who I can get in touch with to like start the ball rolling?" So she gave me the number,
Mm-hmm.
met the guy,
Mm-hmm.
and he showed it to me. As soon as we went to look at it, then everyone started applying for it. So apparently, like 10 applications came in over the time that we went for it. So I had to write a marketing plan. I had to design the boutique, and show them how I'm going to make it look. What am I going to do to drive traffic? Blah blah blah. So I had to write all of that. But apparently, my application was the strongest, so I got it. What's been interesting? So I've got it. 90% of the people that pass by wish me well. White, black, Indian, Asian, everybody will wish you well. Good luck. 10% of the people that pass are mainly Asian people, few black people, are saying that it's a wrong spot, you're not going to make it. One man told me that the place is cursed. Every business that goes in there fails. Like there's been many businesses in that spot and they all fail. Um, that kind of I was like, oh, okay. One woman came and she was like, I know you don't want to hear because I was just like, please, do you not just go away with your negative energy? And she was like, I know you don't want to hear it, but this strip is hard and you're not going to make any money here. So there's people that will see you setting up your thing and will then just come and speak negativity. So you've got to just learn how to protect your spirit and your legacy basically and what it is that you're trying to build because people will just speak negativity onto it.
Yeah.
So that's been interesting. So I'm learning to let it roll off of my back now. Like, because at first I was just like, what? Why do you not keep saying this to me? But now is people are going to just be people. They're going to say what they want to say. It's your intent. It's what you do. So then I spoke to you because I remembered saying to you, I feel funny saying that it's a shop because it's so small. It's 12 by 5, right? So I was like, is it a shop? Can I say it's a shop? That's why I called it a petite boutique, because it's tiny, isn't it? Go on. You want to say something?
You're
Go on.
speaking negativity on yourself. It is a shop.
No, I'm not speaking negativity. I'm being real.
It is a shop.
You had to
And the way I think that you styled it is quite boutique. But
Yeah.
I didn't. It wasn't petite that we couldn't see what you were selling, your products. So, which is what I said to you, isn't it? And yeah, we weren't all in. It wasn't that type of setup for us to all be milling around like when we go to Finsbury Park and you've had that shop like that before. But it's a nice, lovely little space.
Yeah, I love it.
And
it's
the
cute.
way that you've done it up with your feature wall and and by the time I got there, everybody said, "Nah, man, she's been robbed. Like everybody's come down and she's been mobbed. People bought everything up, and it still looked good."
Yo, the people did not play. Let me show. Let me see if I can find my post that I just made. And then I can show. But like, so many people came out. Like the whole day, it was just busy, busy, busy. Like people will come.
Mm-hmm.
It has a. Hi, Dee. She said it has a shutter with security camera. It's a shop.
It's a shop. See there? It's a shop.
Right. No, but like I think because what
And
it
will
is
be the first of many.
of many. To me, like it's a stepping stone to a bigger place. But I would keep it if I got a bigger place. I would still keep it. If we built it up, I would just leave it there. Do you know what I mean? And just get something else. But yeah, I think because we've had setups in places like Finsbury Park, like you had to cuss off someone riding a bike through the thing. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just like, but I love the idea of it. I think that when Black women speak life into each other, magical things can happen. And that's good evening, Davina. How you doing, Sugar Plum? Good to see you. And that's why I'm there, because a Black woman spoke life into my business and pushed me to come and do better, like level it up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do there, and how it's gonna grow and progress. And yeah, let's show you.
I'm going to change that last sentence to, we're looking to see what will be done there, not what can be done there.
Yeah, what will be done there and how it's going to grow and progress. Absolutely. So, yeah.
Come on. I can say I know a real business owner now.
Right? Let me show you guys. Let's show you what happened at the event. So, of the Diva Choice Petite Boutique actually was. From the moment we opened, you came through and you just kept coming. My very first customer was a 70-year-old woman who travelled all the way from Lewisham, and you could see it was a bit of a struggle for her, but she was determined to come and support me. That warmed my heart. She was like a good luck charm and set the pace for the rest of the day. It was lovely to see so many familiar and unfamiliar faces. Customers, friends, family, and just general supporters rocking up to genuinely come and support us. It means more than I can ever explain. Natalie brought me the biggest bunch of flowers, and my TikTok friend, who I've never met but actually got to meet on the day, Pamela, bought me a money tree for the boutique. The love was just so overwhelming. You shopped, you tried on pieces, you laughed, you celebrated with us. And watching Diva Choice Jewelry leave the boutique with its new owners was such a beautiful feeling. This little boutique represents so much. It's more than a shop to me. It represents years of markets, pop-ups, early morning, late nights, packing, unpacking, creating, learning and growing, and refusing to give up even when people say that we will never be able to do it. To my charges, Mum and Shasha, I wouldn't have been able to get so far without you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. To every single person that came out, purchased something, bought a gift, shared the event, sent a message, or simply just wished me well, thank you. I'm genuinely overwhelmed with gratitude. I'm still trying to take in just how incredible the opening of the... Yeah, it was a really nice day. It was a really, really good day. I'm pleased. So thank you guys for the support.
Come on.
Davina says,
you.
well, thank you. Dealing with shit at work, but they ain't know about me yet. Looks like they're about to find out very soon. Not kill nobody, Davina. How are you, beautiful ladies? I'm good. I'm like in a really strange place. I'm really happy. As I just showed you guys, the launch for the event went well. People came from far and wide to come and support me. It was just amazing. But like No Bravado hadn't been on for like the last 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, because my aunt died, my cousin died. I then got run down and really sick. So couldn't do the show. So this is our first show back, and I'm feeling like overwhelmingly happy, but really sad at the same time. It's really hard to explain. I think my aunt's death. I'm sad for my mum. I'm sad for my cousins and stuff. But at the same time, I think she was elderly. She had Parkinson's. She had dementia. She had a tumor. There was so much going on for her, so I kind of feel like, okay, well, rest well, my aunt. But my cousin was younger, and randomly all of her organs shut down, and she died, and I can't get my head around that. So, you know, I kind of feel like you've got to live your life to the best of your ability and just go for stuff. Do you know what I mean? So I'm happy and sad to answer your question, but the deaths have definitely made me feel like, well, just keep going and just keep doing and doing. Like, today's your last. You just have to. Just is what it is, you know? So,
Definitely.
yes, Steve, what do you want to say? Anything going on for you? I didn't speak to you about your event, your femicide event. How did that go?
So we've done 2 Another Night of Sisterhood events, and they both, no, 3. The last 2, one was in person, and the last one last week was online on Teams. I've decided to do it on Teams
Right.
because people can share the link with other like-minded Black women. So we started off with a series on Black women's safety.
Right.
From the physical, we've now moved on to psychological. And what was really good about last week was a lot of us decided that actually the things that I'm not going to use the word afraid, that's a bit too strong, but the things that we are intrepid about are actually, in terms of our safety, right? Our psychological
Right.
safety. Some of it is down to us not pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone. And one of the things that came out, I mean, everybody on there is of a certain age. So I'm going to say, from 45 right through to early 60s. And a common
Right.
theme was that people wanted to do things, but often felt that certain things like camping or, dry slopes, skiing, these were things that other kind of demographics did.
Right.
But yet we're saying, I want to do different things. I'm tired of the raving. I want, I'm not saying I'm never going to rave again, but I want to go out. I want to do different things. I want to do brunches. So we had a good discussion, talking about how we need to push ourselves out of our comfort zone, and from that came one of the ladies there. She belongs to one of these Black women groups that do lots of
Cool.
activities. So we're all going to
Right.
go camping now, and I can't wait.
Oh, when are you guys going?
We've not set a date, but I think the first step is just saying, yeah, we want to go.
Right.
Some say they want to do glamping. Some say they want
Glamping, I
everything
would do.
already blown
Camping,
up.
I don't think I could do.
Yeah, and I spoke life. I was like, listen, we're Black women. We're gonna beard. That's the first thing. Like,
That's the first thing. Where am I gonna go toilet?
where
I
are
don't
we
want
gonna
to use
right?
no leave.
Listen, don't watch me. I'll be bringing my chimney because if it's me to use the toilet in the night, I'll have my little camping chimney and then pour it in the toilet in the morning. But it was a really good conversation, and what I like about our community conversations, it's a chance to just be your authentic self because
Yeah,
so much, when we're in the public or the professional space, we can't always be our authentic self and talk about authentic issues to us
yeah,
because it's not the space, or people are going to say, well, you've not included us and we're all women and all that. So that's why I like it online. But we decided our next one, which will be in 3 weeks from now, will be on
3 weeks.
menopause and how it affects the Black woman. Because
Okay,
again, this is something that we're all experiencing in this cycle of life at the moment.
yeah, and it's really underestimated how
Right.
it affects you. It really is. I've heard and seen people going through menopause, and I've heard people speaking about it, but I don't think anyone can prepare you for what it
No.
actually is. And I don't even think, from what I'm hearing and seeing, I don't even think mine's that bad. But sometimes you feel like you're gonna die. Like
Listen,
it's
with me, it's the brain fog. I suddenly
yeah,
can't remember key people. I can't remember their names. And I'm going through all of these descriptives,
yeah,
but I can't say Trisha because for the life of me, I can see your face. I'm
yeah,
saying things to the kids like, the auntie that I buy the jewelry from, and they're like, who? And it's the memory fog. People talk. Well, obviously, there's like
yeah,
night sweats and stuff. We talked about the loss of libido in relationships, and it was good
right,
because even though we had 3 men on there on our show last
okay,
week, and they were able to share what Black women not having psychological safety looks like in those relationships. And then when we
right,
got on to menopause, it was their understanding of all of a sudden, there is sex and then there's no sex. And why that is. It's not a rejection of the man necessarily. It's just how she feels and why she feels this way and the loss of estrogen and all of those things. So I can't wait for the next one because I don't know about you, Trisha, but my mum didn't tell me anything about menopause. So I
we
didn't know
talk
what,
about it a
and
lot
she's no
now.
longer here, and neither is my grandma. So I'm one
Yeah,
of these people that is learning as I go along.
right, we talk about it a lot now, but
Yeah,
yeah, not really like growing up. No,
no,
just kind
it,
of
it wasn't
seeing
the
what
thing.
you hear and stuff like that. It wasn't really a thing. Davina says, "Sorry to hear this, Trisha. Loss is hard. Lean on your support network." I have been, sugar. Um, I have been. It can be tough, but and yeah, and then I suppose dealing with your menopause and things being all over, the hormones being all over the place. I'm taking things a lot harder than I really should.
Right.
Yeah. Before I go on to our first topic, I just
Mm-hmm.
want to mention Natalie is having an event
Okay.
on the 27th of September. It's called Scrap the Apps. Good Company, the Millennial Mixer. So she's saying it's strictly 35 and up. If you are under 35, you cannot come. I think all of the female tickets that she has have sold out. So she is doing it. Let me read the
The blurb,
so
the write up.
yeah, yeah, let me read that rather than again trying to do it from memory. Coming, I can make it. Um, Good Company is officially happening. She says, I've been talking about this for the last few weeks, but I realise I haven't actually sent out a proper broadcast yet. If you're 35 and have been following the conversation about how we could actually meet people these days, I've created Good Company, a millennial mixer with a proper house party vibe, but with a little more intention. A space to mix, mingle, connect, meet new people, make new friends, have a laugh, enjoy good music, and just see what happens. Proper old school house party vibes. It's not a singles night, but there's definitely space and opportunity to meet someone if that's what you're open to. The response has honestly been mad, and tickets are already going quickly. So I wanted to make sure that my WhatsApp people knew about it and everybody else that knows about it. So it's gonna be at the Little Neon Door in Shoreditch. Sunday, the 27th of September from 6 to 11. Strictly 35s. ID is required. Eventbrite has the tickets, and I will post the I will post the link for the tickets. But what's again been interesting is all the female tickets are sold out, but the men are dragging their feet. So I want to them.
So you see, this is really no, not strange, coincidental that we're having this conversation, because yesterday I want to do some pop the balloon events, but not
Okay,
in the way that pop the balloon is done, and
right,
for like Gen Xers, yeah. So I've been speaking to this promoter, and he was like, Donna, the fact is, you're going to get women who will, want to go to the event and join in and whatever. He said, but you just won't get the men. You just won't get the men. He says it's not that the men are not looking to date or find a partner, but they're not going to be so public about it.
right.
So that's a shame.
Yeah, I mean she's got time,
Oh
so
yeah, no, Nat's got loads of time.
she's got lots of time to, and they're selling, but the women's tickets sold out the moment she put it out.
Yeah, women want to find good men.
But we're now gonna find them if it's just gonna be a little fanny fest. Do you know what I mean? Like, come on,
Not the
like
fanny
what are you
fest,
lot?
Trish. Not the fanny fest.
With them there? Like, come on. So I'm saying this to you guys. Natalie's been doing really well on social media. Her page
Yeah,
is becoming influency. I think she's gonna go really far. This is her first event, and I just want everyone to get behind her because, Natalie is a special person. She really
yeah,
is. She really is somebody who gets behind anything that you're doing. And I think she underestimates just how magical she is. And I think she's starting to step into it now, and it's really
good.
nice to watch. Yeah, it's really nice to watch. I'm really happy for her. So anything we can do to get behind this event, we're going to do it. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'm saying to you guys, grab a friend, come out. Like she got one message where some guy bought a ticket, and then he sent her a message just basically saying, "Look, I need a refund because my wife is not convinced that this is not a singles event, so I can't come. I need peace." So he had to refund, which was I thought was hilarious. But yeah, there are going to be some guys that can't come because their wives are going to look at it and think, oh, you lot are going to meet young girls at this mixer. When actually it's got games room, um it's got like a little kitchen, so you can have like a little house party kitchen vibes. It's just to come and hang out and mix and mingle and have fun like we used to back in the day.
yeah,
I think a lot of the nostalgia comes around things that happened back in the day. The good times were really back in the day. Um, yeah. So I'm encouraging men, have a look, good company, Eventbrite, buy a ticket, grab a male friend, come down, have a drink, play
yeah.
some pool, and let's have some fun. It's going to be a great event. So yeah. All right. Davina says, what I'm finding extremely hard is the insomnia and the hot flushes. The insomnia is wild when you're just sitting there and you're tired and you can't sleep. But surprisingly, my sex drive has increased tremendously. I was already hot blooded before, but lard, it's terrible now. Ain't no fun being this freaking horny and single.
I was gonna say something, but I'm just gonna keep my mouth quiet. Let me warm up first. You can't just be rude straight away, Donna.
You can be rude, so long as
I was
it's
gonna
not rude
say to
to her.
Davina, is her bedroom sounding like a barber shop at night? That's what I was gonna say.
Well, it's what it is. You can't get no flipping.
You have to go through. You have to go
You have to
through.
do what you have to do. It is what it is. Angela, hi. Thanks for joining, Angela. Hi, ladies. Hope okay. The shop is beautiful. Positive vibes. Condolences to both your family members. Wishing you every success with the business. Keep strong, Treasure. Thank you so much, Angela,
Lovely
and for
message.
coming by on Saturday. It was amazing. It was amazing to see you guys. All right. So, first topic. Let me see what I have. So, what's your opinion? Let me read this first, and then I'll grab your opinion. But I will ask this: do you think that there is still a divide between African and Caribbean people, Don?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry. Yes. Yes. I think
Why
both
do you
ways,
say
and
this?
I think both ways.
Right. Why are you saying that?
Because I would be one of those people that upholds some of those divisions.
Yeah.
And yeah, I see it, the difference even in my own. Again, I'll just refer to my children. Their friendship group contains people I would have never and still am not friends with. It's
Right.
so I think those one of my God, I'm going to say this is going to go out, but my eldest son is dating a girl of Ghanaian heritage, and yeah, at first I was like, but yeah, I think younger people, it's not a thing. We're black, and we are black, and
Right.
I am the last person. I like the fashion, can't take the food, but I know that there is an irk, I know that thing is there within me, and I know it's my friends who are probably listening. They're never going to be as bright as me to say, yeah, there is still a division. I don't think it's as acute as it was when we were children. Now we're coming to the end of our 40s and 50s. I think it's very much more diluted. But equally,
Right.
I have friends from the motherland who, their parents still hold to the, oh, she's Jamaican, she's loud. How many baby fathers has she got? Does she, is she
Right.
how educated? So those things are still there. Those biases are still there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'll wait for you to read the rest.
All right. Let's have a look at it. So this post came about. Let me share my screen. This post came about because of Carnival, and I was really surprised. Davina says no comment. Oh, is this to the barbershop at night, Davina?
Go on, Davina.
Is what it is. Um, Let me share my screen. Share screen.
I
So,
just, I wish this wasn't the first thing. I'm just not gonna come off in a good light. I remember
oh,
this
should
post,
I have
and I
warmed into it? Should I have warmed into it?
you should have warmed me into it. Yes,
I told you to pick what you wanted to. But
I know.
this post, 16,000 post reach, got a lot of comments, some racist people in there as well. And this is what I thought was interesting because there's so much division between us, it leaves other nationalities rather, to slip into the cracks and just cause mayhem. And that's what I don't like about the division.
I don't.
Um,
Sorry to cut you, Trisha.
yeah,
In my humble opinion, I don't think the division is like we don't shop in their shops or we don't go to each other's restaurants, or I think that is all pretty much flattened out. But this is specifically, if I remember this post, this was specifically around Carnival, right?
Carnival,
And if I
yeah,
remember correctly, it was a post that Cheryl Phoenix had made, and then that was brought into the group, I believe, by Natty or by Cheryl herself. And
right,
she was calling out the hypocrisy, right? She's basically saying we're all of African heritage. What difference does it make? But I love Cheryl dearly and have worked with her. I still have a problem with that. And the problem that I have is this. Well, actually, you do your bit. Let me stop talking.
no, talk,
The problem that I have is this. We have now got if you look at the stats, right, of who is black in the UK, people of Caribbean heritage are the least in terms of numbers. We are the smallest group. I think we are seconded by so the group below us that's encroaching are people of dual heritage that are half black, whatever that mixture looks like, right? Then there's us. Then I believe it's the Ghanaians, and of course the big mouths in the room. The Nigerians are the other are like nearly 200,000. I think it's across London. So let me get
right,
this right. It's not nationally. Now, if we go back to the premise in the beginning of Carnival, it was an offshoot of the murder of Kelso Cochrane, right? He was
Right.
an Antiguan man who was killed by a mob of white men or white people back in the 50s. And so to bring about kind of that cohesion, I can't remember her name, Cynthia, I think the first name is, of the lady who kind of brought about Carnival. And it was to bring the cohesion between the newly arrived West Indians and the white people that already lived here.
Right.
And I just feel, even in our culture, Caribbean culture, we have lost the essence of what it is about. Yes, it's
Right.
become, the biggest party in Europe and all of that stuff that they like to quote. But the reason that we have it and what it stands for, I think, has been diluted. And so I'm not saying that there were not African people here, right? When there were Caribbean people here. In fact, probably there were a lot of Africans and Nigerians and Ghanaians. I hate the word Africans, but I'm going to be specific. There are lots of people from the continent of Africa who came here to study for their
Right.
doctorates, to do all sorts, even before the Caribbean people came here in 1948. So let's just get it as it is. This is history. But I just feel, as a first generation, that so much of our culture is being taken away from us, or we are allowing it to be taken away. So when I saw the post, I know Cheryl now lives out there on the continent of Africa, and she's living her best life. But I feel if we don't make a stand, everything will go. And I'm a bit of a Caribbean supremacist, because I feel that there is so much about our culture and our struggle and our whole story that is slowly being eroded. And so now they want us to have Afrobeats. And I have no problems with Afrobeats. But the premise of Carnival was a cohesion between the newly arrived so-called Caribbeans, or West Indians as they were called at the time, and white people. So if we're going to have other music, whilst that might be representative of London now, but it wasn't representative of the struggle then that this thing, it kind of sprung from. And I just feel that we need to keep it as it is. Now, I'm not saying that, I wouldn't go as far as to say people shouldn't come or whatever, but I do think it should be of origin Caribbean music. And that includes soca. And I say it includes soca because soca is going to be it's carnival music. But I think all parts of our culture musically should be represented. And no, we shouldn't have other people's. Go off and do your thing then. You lot do your Afrobeats, carnival, wherever. This thing signifies a specific time when things were very tough for Caribbean people. And let's have it as it is as well. The Caribbean people that came here and dealt with these white people first time, right? They were made out of stuff that we no longer exist. They were tough, hardy people. Nobody came to their aid. It's not as if the people who came here to study and had all of these big qualifications suddenly came down on the ends and kind of, advocated for them. They had to do it on their own. So the fact that is like a specific capturing of time and an event that then came from it, I think it should still be kept as it was and what it stood for. A man was murdered by a group of thuggish white people, and this then became something that a symbol of cohesion and inclusion for those two groups. I mean, what we're going to have next? The Asians going to want to show up with Bhangra, or you're going to have them Asian West Indians want to show up with their chutney? No, this
No.
was for us, and I feel that it should stay that way.
I think that you're saying that it's a symbol of cohesion, and I don't see why it can't be a symbol of cohesion for all of our people. So I
If you
disagree.
let them in, I swear to God, if you let them in, it's pants.
But I think some of the Afro beats is very similar to soca. Um, I
Yeah,
think some of our cultures are very similar. I've been to Ghana. Lord said with their chutney. Don't
similar,
encourage.
similar, similar is fine, but not the same. And I wouldn't. If what's that outside? Don't tell me I've got mice. But anyway, if I would have the same stance if all of a sudden Bashment wanted to turn up to, I don't know, a Nigerian or a Ghanaian event. I would be just like, stay in your lane. This is not your thing.
Right.
So yeah, inclusive. They can come, but their music, it's not their show. It's not their time. This is not their bedtime. Their bedtime is tomorrow or next day, but this is ours, and leave us to it. That's what I feel.
Okay, so let's see what some of the No Bravado Massive said. I disagree. I think we're all one. I think that the separation is what's causing us to still be at the bottom of a lot of things that we shouldn't be. Um, I do think that the separation was by design, and like I some of like the toughest kind of experiences I had, like trying to explain to a tribunal court judge that actually I suffered racism from black people as well because I was Caribbean and they were all African, and they had no problems taking directives from a white man. They would openly say, yes, boss, no, boss, 3 bags full, boss. But I too was a senior management, but because I was younger than some of them and I was from the Caribbean, I suffered a lot of backlash and resistance. So trying to explain that in a court of law, it so what the fuck are you talking about? Do you understand what I'm saying? But I feel like if this that us and them didn't exist, we'd be a lot stronger.
I don't think it's an us and them. This is my point. I don't think that I'm superior. I don't think that I'm better. I don't think any of those things.
I'm not saying that you're
We are
saying
very similar, but we are different. And what I'm saying is, for this particular sentinel moment that is carnival, let it remain as Caribbean as it can be. They can always have their thing, you know. They can have Care Workers United, whatever they decide to do. That's their
Care Workers United, Donna.
but but
Oh, I'm gonna put you in prison. Time out. Serious. Not Care Workers United. Blood. Um, the law says separation of all humanity is by design. Davina saying Carnival is also a representation of Carnival back home, which includes chutney soca, as there are many Indo-Caribbeans who are Caribbean. So Caribbean Carnival represents them also. So yes, chutney has its place.
but yes, I'll have that. I'll have that, Davina, because I'm a descendant of one such of those people. So I understand. So anything Caribbean, you know, I might not like it, but we'll have it. That's all I'm saying. Can we just have one thing? Just one thing. That's all. But in no way do I feel superior or better. I like Afrobeats. It's not like I only like reggae, I don't like Afrobeats. That's not true. It's just this particular event. Let us have it.
Okay. All right. So let's look at the actual post. See what she has said. I just found it interesting because of the conversation it sparked. So the great carnival hypocrisy. We need to stop tearing down Afrobeats while letting everyone else steal the show. And I have seen videos of like Leicester Carnival, not one black person in the parade, just white people winded up to Carnival. Do you know what I mean? And no one's got nothing to say about that. Every single year without fail, this discourse of Notting Hill Carnival descends into the same tired, pathetic argument. Afrobeats isn't carnival music. Why are they playing African noise? This isn't Trinidad. And every single year I look at the state of us black people in the UK and realize exactly why we never get it together. The hypocrisy is absolutely staggering. Let's break it down, shall we? Because I'm sick of the sight of us tearing down our African brothers and sisters. You have black British people, Caribbean descent, mainly standing at the sound systems with their faces screw up in disgust because they hear a bit of Afro beats or Amapiano. Yet these same peoples will jump and wave to Rodigan until they drop. They'll big up David Rodigan, who is a white man and who's made it an absolute fortune off of black reggae and dancehall, like he's the second coming of Christ. They play the likes of Tim Westwood. We all know the allegations and give him passes for decades. They crown these men as gatekeepers of our sound. But when an African artist steps up to the deck, suddenly the culture is under threat. Please spare me. You want to talk about authentic carnival music? Let's have a conversation then, because the selective outrage is embarrassing. Outrage. Hang on. Where is the outrage for samba floats? Where is the vitriol for Brazilian drum sections? I get it slightly. Samba is big and loud and percussive. It's not calypso. It's not soca. It's not even from the same continent. Yet we embrace it. We dance to it, and we call it carnival culture. And while we are at it, let's talk about the LGBTQIA floats. Now, before you start, I'm not questioning their rights to exist, but I'm questioning the selective outrage of our community. What what generic music do the LGBTQAI floats bring to carnival that is traditional? What cultural music value is there that is more valid than drums of West Africa? There is none. Yet we're expected to wave a flag, champion the inclusivity, and put front and centre because we're told to be inclusive. We bend over backwards to include everyone else under the umbrella of inclusivity, as long as that banner doesn't look too African. I have to say, I kind of agree with her. I'm not going to lie. This is the heart of the issue. We love to preach unity, but we hate to practice it. So we're quick to adopt everyone else's struggle, everyone else's music, everyone else's politics, yet we look down our noses at the motherland. We love to police who is black enough or who is Caribbean enough, when in reality, the Caribbean is Africa. We are the diaspora. We share the same blood. Our music, soca, dancehall, Afro beats, reggae, it all comes from the same drum. It all comes from the transatlantic current of resistance, I think she's saying, yeah. We're giving a free pass to the likes of Rodigan, the organisers of Reggae Land, and all the other culture vultures who smile in our faces and speak a bit of broken patois or pidgin. All they have to do is eat our rice and peas, dance offbeat to a fella track, date one of our sisters, and suddenly they're family. They get access to our stages, radio, and our money. Then what happens? They come into our spaces, they see the commercial potential, they bleed our people, community, and music dry. They make millions off of the back of us, and they never look back. Meanwhile, we're busy arguing about whether African artists should be allowed on the stage at Carnival. That was literally born out of the struggle of Windrush generation, the generation that was African before they were Caribbean. And here is where the hypocrisy gets truly exposed. Because the Caribbean has already figured this out, we haven't. Let's talk about, oh God, how long is she going to go on for?
It was a very long post.
I've started, so I have to finish now. Or do I? I think we get the
gist.
We get the gist, because she goes on for a while.
She's not wrong. She's not wrong in calling out the... Sorry.
Let me just read the last bit. We're never going to progress if we keep letting the colonizers mentally split us down the middle. I agree. The African and Caribbean connection is the only future we have. Stop the division, embrace the heritage, or watch everybody else come and steal it from right under our noses whilst we stand there arguing about who belongs. The Caribbean has already shown us how it's done Jamaica. It's already shown us how it's done Trinidad. It's already shown us how it's done. Why are you sitting in the UK and start acting like you know better? Enough is enough. Stop tearing down your own. Start gatekeeping from the real enemy. And for the love of everything we built, stop letting everyone with a fake smile into the party, because we are not welcome, and neither is your hypocrisy. Yeah. I'll go back to the comments in a minute, but yeah. Go on, Don. What do you're saying? She's not wrong, but
I when I read it, and knowing Cheryl personally, she's not wrong. We have to call out the Westwoods and the Rodigans. And yes, I mean, Reggae Land is an absolute travesty. We should have said a group of man them for Bonidong, but we are in the situation that we are, where we are now. And I don't say we accept it. I think it needs to be addressed. I don't necessarily always think that inclusion is the best thing, because she's quite right. You've got the LGBTQ people there, but yet we're saying, no Afrobeat should be played at Carnival. And there's nothing wrong with either things, but why is it they always have to come together when it's our thing? That's my, I suppose that's my angst, right? That's the thing that irks me. That's my fly in the ointment. Fine, have your things, and that's fine. Everybody has a tribe, right?
All right.
And I think when she's talking about coming together, see, I think this is a bit of conflation here, because I think you can compartmentalize things. Having Afrobeats at Carnival, I don't think is saying, oh, there's a massive divide between the Caribbean community and the African community. I think it's a form of division, yes, but I don't think it affects us politically or economically. And I think that while she's right, I disagree with, yes, Jamaica and other areas of the Caribbean are already leading the way, but let's just have it as it is. When we've gone through our struggles here as a demographic for the last nearly 80 years since Windrush, it was us that led the charge. And I suppose this is where my thing comes from. I don't really see that's valued by other areas of the diaspora that come here. They don't know that some of the civil liberties that they have here in the UK are built on the backs and the deaths of people who came from the Caribbean, who encountered these racist white people first, and their systems. And I feel that we've given away everything. There's not even a recognition or an acknowledgement of what it was for those Windrush people to come here, what they experienced with their children through legislation, through the use of the government using the police. And I just feel if we can just have one thing, I actually feel quite emotional about this. If we can just keep one thing, and to say that, I don't think to say that Afrobeat should be included is to say, oh, well, we don't want African people there, we don't hear their music. I think that's completely conflating things. This is just one event. One event. Why can it not be, given that its causation was the murder of a Caribbean man at the hands of racist white people at the time? Why can it not just be Caribbean music? Even if, as Davina says, it has to include chutney, God almighty. But even if it's that, it's still Caribbean. And so it has its place there. That's my whole point. I think where Cheryl's gone, talking about hypocrisy, I don't see it in anywhere else but this, maybe musically. And yes, have I been by the set and they put on, my quota for any party is 3 soca tunes and maybe 4 or 5 Afrobeats, and then I'm out. But that doesn't mean that in my day-to-day life, there's a massive division and I treat them any differently and I don't greet them. And just what I'm trying to say. So I think there's a bit of conflation there. I don't know if it was to kind of get people riled, but it did the job. It was a very, very responded to post.
Yeah. All right. So let's see what the No Bravado Massive had to say about it. Share screen. They had a lot to say. Michelle said, wow, there's a lot to unpack here, Michelle Alexander, but I would still say that I love Notting Hill Carnival. It was fine during the 70s when I used to attend with my mother and her friends. In the 80s, I used to attend with my friends. In the 90s, I went with my friends, and I was also a flag lady for the Tottenham Steel Band. During that period, I enjoyed Carnival to hear steel pan players, soca and calypso music. I was never into sound systems. If I wanted to hear sound systems, I enjoyed them at parties and nightclubs. I stopped attending Notting Hill Carnival from 1994 to 24. It became too violent for me. I didn't feel safe in the crowd. Okay, what's this got to do with?
See?
Yeah, that's got nothing to do with nothing. But hang on. Is the youngest joined Hackney Steel Band. I was a flag lady. That's why I attended fine to dance along to the music from the sound system, some radio DJs and the sideline. I love African music, especially as I was an African dancer for years. So I love my African beats at Carnival. But Tim Westwood, David Rodigan, LGBTQA, I'm not quite sure about them. I'm not hating on anybody, but sometimes there's a time and a place for certain things. Notting Hill Carnival is our space.
I think she summed up how I feel exactly.
Yeah. Protect the culture, says Nigel Clark. Carlton Lewin says, I agree with protecting the culture, but here's the issue. We don't want the streets so for as long as we don't own the streets. The government could put in whatever rules they want. I don't even go Carnival, but I understand how it should be run and who it should be for, but it's becoming way too political, and I get why some people have stopped going.
Yeah.
Cyrus said fire bun. Martin Hicks said, it's literally a Caribbean carnival, no African nation is the Caribbean. Maybe research the history. It's to counter racist violence against the Caribbean community. So no Afro beats isn't Caribbean music, is it? Says
No,
Martin Hicks. There's loads of replies, and I'm not going to be able to go through all of the comments because,
I mean,
yeah,
I saw that post. I didn't read all of the comments. I think it's gone on a lot more than when I first saw it originally. And there were some people in favor saying, yeah, maybe your take on it, Trisha, that we're all black, and so all music that is of black origin and
we
black
started
heritage,
there.
African heritage, should
Yeah,
be allowed. And I think I just feel that things are being conflated, and I feel that
I get what
Michelle's point kind of reflects the. So what are we talking about here? Because it's not a them versus us. I don't even see them in the equation. This is our event to mark the death of one of our own back in the Windrush times. That's all it is. End of, full stop. It's not
yeah,
that you can't have um Brazilian percussion or whatever, but it must be specific. Not Brazilian percussion. I meant to say chutney. Sorry. You can have all forms, even Caribbean jazz. All of that is welcome, but it should be a marker that stands for the Caribbean.
right.
Outside of Carnival, let things play out as they have done. I don't see that there's a big division. I don't, when's the last time? I don't know, but I don't see it.
Right. Romford said it's not hate Africa thing at all. Even the bashment truck is side-eyed, laughing out loud. Also, it was more about Afro beats being played on the truck when we expect only soca. Um, Nadine Dockery Green says, as a Jamaican who loves dancehall, reggae, and bashment, I understand that NHC is for soca, calypso, bouillon, etc. That is the rule. If any truck plays anything else, they can be banned. What happens on the street corners with the sound systems is their business, but on the road, they have to abide by the rules. Carnival was created for Caribbeans, that's how it should remain, not tearing anyone down. Once you start changing the essence of it, it no longer represents what it stood for. Yes, this is 2026 and I like Afro beats, but it doesn't fit, in my opinion, says Yvonne Walters. Everything we do, others want a piece of it until it becomes theirs. So what happens when we say nothing? We say nothing, so say something and feel no way. Nice, says Nigel Clark. He's also suggesting that she reads it out. Kwame says, as an African myself, I love to attend Caribbean cultural events, but we as Africans must know our place at these places and not try to make it about us and turn it into some Afro beats fest and start selling jollof rice at thief prices. He's so full. I can't. Both piss me off, to be honest, says Curran Plummer. I'm looking for a particular comment. No such thing as black Brits. Africans wants to replace Caribbean. That's all that's happening. Oh, that's interesting. You think Africans are trying to replace Caribbeans?
I don't think so, but I think it's very evident. I mean, I'm a bit of a social commentator. Working class in a London culture is black, and most of that is hinged to Caribbean culture, more specifically Jamaican culture. So I
Right.
don't feel that even the fact that they, know some of our colloquialisms, patois, even, I feel that it's a melting pot, but I feel that it's very obvious that there are more of them than there are of us right now. And also there's a lot of integration. You have a lot of the younger people marrying both ways, marrying in. I think that's a brilliant thing. I don't think they're trying to replace us. I think that they are just trying to hang their culture somewhere because they're here now, right? So they're trying to hang their culture for their young people in much the same way that we did when people came here. We have sound
Well,
systems and
they've
all
got
of that.
Afro Nation. They've got quite a few
They've
festivals
got
that,
quite a few things. So this is my point.
yeah,
Let us
yeah,
just have this. Nothing more. A man died. Like, I don't. Maybe it's me, and I place a lot of value in the Windrush generation. I really look. I think they are a model that we have veered from. So I have a lot of reverence for them. That man's life was taken. One of the first kind of, not the first, but of the Windrush generation, the first visible act of outright white violence, right? And now we're arguing about this. No, it was a Caribbean man. It's a Caribbean event. You all weren't here then like you are now. Leave us, let us have our thing. You don't have your things, and that's fine. But this one thing, let us have it. And I don't think it needs to be conflated into other areas of diaspora life. It's one event, it's one weekend, it's here. It signifies our existence and our arrival here and the struggles that we faced. And a man lost his life for it. Leave us, let us have our things. God damn it.
Right. Michael Allen says Carnival is for the music of the emancipated. No Afro beats. Latinos were also emancipated. You lot stick with Kemi, we stick with Diane. Don't fed up trying to use Caribbean people. Soca and Calypso are not played at your functions. Please leave us alone. No Afro beats.
100%.
Caribbean people are the foundation. African should remember the struggle we went through and show gratitude. Don't agree. I think we all went through the struggle. It started in Africa and then we were split. And that division has caused us to make comments like that. The struggle is real for all of us. Notting Hill is about soca. End of.
I think the difference is, Trisha, sorry to cut you. I think the difference is we came here and
because we came here first and we
right, so
kind
it's a bit like being born first, right?
first.
The first
Yeah.
one will always disagree with the youngest experience of the same parents because the first had it hurt harder. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Right. So let's not. I mean, they were here as well, but en masse. This is the first time people from the Caribbean are coming en masse to the UK, and all of that jazz that we know became their everyday existence. That was the first time they encountered a hostile racial environment. What I think is the difference. Very few, but not the 1990s, the 1970s, 90s. Because remember, people have been coming here in groups. Like two of my best friends are Ghanaian, but they grew up the same time as myself. So there have always been people here. But I think those generations, they wanted to know, so they learned because we had to live side by side. They kind of learned our culture and we learned theirs. I think with the newer arrivals, there's almost a barrier to kind of understanding that actually we're not these drug dealers, we're not these baby mamas, we're not all these things that they're fed as our stereotype. But I don't see that there's a curiosity to know more. And equally, I feel for people of my generation, there wasn't a curiosity to know too much about them. You know, we had our expressions, didn't we? Scoobs and all of these things, all of these very, very disrespectful terms. However, that then has caused a bit of a chasm. But I feel in younger generations, they're like, yeah, we're black and we're in this together. And so I see that there is more synergy with younger generations. And maybe everybody on that thread is of the similar age group to me, where we feel it, because we know Windrush people were our parents or grandparents. So we don't want it to change. We want it to stay as it is. And that could also be a factor. But I again, and you've all heard me say this 12 times, leave it as it is.
Leave it as it is. A great read. I fully endorse what you're saying about embracing changes, says Mello. All for welcoming Afrobeat sound over some of the changes which are done in order to be inclusive and keep the peace. I will, however, have to disagree with you in regards to Rodigan. It's another story for another time, but Rodigan is a fighter and brought reggae to a different audience, as well as standing strong in his own corner against anyone. For me, he has earned his stripes against all the odds.
I wasn't there. People that were closer to sound system and what Rodigan bringing it to the mainstream and kind of opening up reggae, I wasn't there to know what that experience was like and what benefits that brought them, because I don't think it brought us as a community anything, but it brought them. So people that were involved in that space, whether it was sound system, if you were an artist, and now he'd opened up the market, so more people were going to hear your music. That means more sales. You're easy to market. I can't really say yes or no, but what I will say is, them two white boys for Reggaeland, we constantly miss opportunities because we won't come together, right, to do things together, to have our own events together. And so, as much as I don't like it, they saw an opportunity and they took it. And
They
so,
took it.
the question is, when will we learn that if we can't do it on our own, we should do it together? I mean, this post got me thinking about so many things. I mean, we don't have a nightclub that we own,
Yeah.
but African communities own whole churches. There's so many things that are part of our, our need to commune as a community that we have no access to, and yet we've been here first. So it's a bit like, you got the older brother that still lives at home with mum, but everybody else has moved out and bought their own yard. It's
Yeah.
a bit like that. We're like the crummy uncle that lives in the back bedroom at grandma's house at this point, because and is a bit weird, 56 and still living at home. It does smack of, when are we going to move on this, rather than looking at other people and crying about the opportunities that they take and make and use for themselves, to monetize for themselves. When are we going to
Yeah.
do that?
When are we going to do that? When we stop arguing about who belongs where. Like Cheryl said, I think, I personally feel that you think it's conflated, but I personally feel like it's intersectional, because it's division here, it's in one section, but then when you start to see some of the comments come out, it's like, keep you keep your thing and we keep our thing, and it's like, but we're all the same. So I hate the division personally.
We
It's
are
like,
we are not the same. We are similar.
because of the division, we are now similar, but we all started like, when I went to Ghana, um, they gave me something that was rice and peas. It was called something different, but it was rice and peas.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I'm not saying I have, is it kwachi or whatever it's called? I'm not saying that there
Yeah,
aren't culinary similarities. Of course. I cannot deny, if I stood up, this is not a European bottom, this is most definitely an African bottom. Let's just have it as it is. But there are still differences. But I agree with you and a bit of what Cheryl and others have said. We shouldn't let those differences cause us now to say, well, there's a massive division. And whilst I
right.
say that, I say on the reverse of that, I feel in this, you see, because a lot of us were at school and we did encounter people that came to this country when we were at school, and there was a lot of, they looked like us but they weren't like us, and there were things wrong with them and their food smell, and we had all of these issues. I think a lot of that's gone underground, and what this post did was bring it back up,
Right.
because actually it's been a hot minute since we've had a us versus them conversation, and I think most people would probably say, oh, it's not like that anymore, like I have said. But actually, some of those comments that
It
you've read out
is.
kind of point to more
It
division than
really
perhaps is
is.
apparent.
Yeah, it really is still there. Um, and like I said, someone who experienced working with a majority African team and the way in which they treated me because I was Caribbean, it was wild. But then I've met some African people that just embrace me and treat me like their own. When I went to Ghana, I was treated like I was one of the family. And I didn't feel, I felt more connected to Ghana than I did to Barbados. I'm not gonna lie. Um, yeah, so the division saddens me, because I think there's similarities now. We're not the same now because of the divisions. Um, but Patrick says the truth. If truth be told, carnival is a pagan anyway. It started out as a worship of a false god, Saturn, hence Saturnalia. And then during slavery, it was a time when masters pretended to be slaves and slaves pretended to be masters, like a reverse role of a Christmas party game. Then carnival became a mix up of Christian religion, and it was just a partying before fasting for Lent. I'm not sure that's true, but I'd have to, before I say it's not, I'd have to go and research that.
Yeah.
There should be no trucks on the road playing anything other than soca calypso. All other music should have a designated static spot where they can enjoy whatever genre they like.
I mean,
Um,
he's the only reason that bashment and reggae is so prevalent in now, right? Because if you think of the islands that promote carnival, Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, they're more soca oriented Caribbean cultures, right? In terms of music. The
yeah,
only reason that it's not a reggae fest is because Out of all the people that came from Windrush, the majority, a large amount, were Jamaican. So that when it happened, there became a dominance, but a predominance of. Do you understand? So he's not wrong. I suppose if we were really to take it, strip it back to its roots, we'd all be
Yeah.
whining, covered in paint, because that is real soca carnival,
Real
but from those particular places in the Caribbean. Yeah.
Yeah. Gregory Mitchell said, protect the culture before they take the lot. The funny guy float from the alphabet folk doesn't belong there. See, that's directly inflicting with our history and why it's illegal. Oh, he's talking about LGBT, but still, why it's legal in some of our countries, especially Jamaica. The buck breaking island, the funny guys don't belong. Everything else they want, everything. Do you see funny guy floats at Asian events? So why not pick ours? They got their own day. He just went in on gay people.
That's good.
We know. Uh
No. Go on.
we know your. I'm not going to read your comment because we know we've got you here. Um, Nick said, "Gotta love the continued African Caribbean divide." I feel like I'm a kid again. Um, um, Carnival was created by Caribbean people, created for us, by us, for us. Not being horrible to our African brothers and sisters, but Carnival is ours. Um, Scrolling through, it's not hard to see, says Vinny, why other nations treat the black race the way that they do. I totally understand soca calypso for carnival and the floats because my origin is of Trinidad. However, and don't come for me, we all originated from Africa. We're all black race, African, Caribbean. Why cry down each other so just for music? Other races may not like what their own are doing in certain things, but they do not tear each other down and not for others to see or hear. That's how they know to divide our race, or the fact we do it for them, or in fact we do it for them. It's not necessary or called for. Build up each other as a race, not hard to see how we are treated as people by other races and why we continue to make it easier. And I 100% agree. She's basically summed up what I'm saying. You still there?
I'm here, but I'm being
Okay.
very, very quiet.
Hang on. I'm missing some of the live comments. I'm not going to start trouble. Why? That's your thing, Kev B. You always start trouble. Why stop now? How you doing, Kev? Start your trouble, talk your shit. You always do. Sorry, but the division is the original post. Why was it even needed? She was just saying how she felt, I guess. Vili says hi. Vili says the carnival in the UK cannot be classed as the historical carnival that this gentleman is talking about. Yes, one. I think she's saying she's agreeing to us all being one. They don't want to hear it. I'm looking for something. But anyway, we've spent too much time on here. But Patricia Marks said, "You lot can't organise anything without screwing it up. Us colonisers, as you put it, dragged you up. So all your bitching and whining is pointless. You scream for your cause, but deep down you know you lot have not got the brains to do anything worthwhile."
Patricia, with respect, let me not. And this is why Anos is online, away from them, because and it's cameras on. So even if you're the wrong side of light skin, you're gone, because it's
That's not the
impossible
wrong
to
side.
have conversations without
Yeah,
them. I mean, look, was it Leicester Carnival you spoke about earlier on? When I
yeah,
saw the big white gal, I mean, so then what is this now? It's gone
yeah.
to shit. So, and I fully, with my chest, blame that generation of black men that went out and did all of this inclusive bringing in and making children. So it just annoys me that so many little chunks have been taken away till you've got white people on the news saying, yeah, this is Leicester Carnival. Like,
Right.
no. Because what
Well,
we're
yeah.
not going to do a clog. What's the clog dance they do with the maypole? We're not going to do a bashment version of that. I would equally have this much vim if something like that was done. I think that cohesion and diversity is great, but it's even better when we respect sometimes the differences. I'm not gonna, we're not gonna start rolling a whole yam down that. What's that thing that they do when they roll the cheese down that really steep hill? That's been a tradition for how many hundreds of years. Now we all show up and we're starting to chase plantains and piece of yam down there. No, that's not our lane. Leave the people, let them have them thing. And that's what I think is good about diversity. But sometimes, boy, them say you give away your body and you shit through your ribs, and I think that's where we are right now. We're shitting through our ribs.
Yeah. Okay, let me find our next topic. But the division is still very real and it saddens me. And it took a post about Carnival to dig that all up. Let me not do that. There's something else I want to do. Hang on. I want to find it. Okay.
Thank you, Davina. I agree. I miss say that me the one tell her, you see. Fi dig up. Fi dig up the mama. Fi dig up the mama. But thank you, Davina, as ever.
Gotta love Davina. I met
Come
her for
on.
the first time on Saturday. She came down to the boutique opening, but I feel like I've known Davina for years on top of years because of how we converse online. But it was really nice to meet you in person. All right, so I found this really interesting. Let me share my screen. Okay, so there was an interview really recently where ASAP Rocky was on the Jason Lee show and he spoke about his partner, Rihanna. And this is some of the things that he had to say. I went and watched the full interview after watching this, and she actually does misrepresent this a little bit because he does say he loves her character and he loves the person that she is. He does say that. But Dr. Z's silence, what I can't say it. Sociologist. ASAP Rocky was in an interview hosted by BET and shared why he is with Rihanna. And these are the things that he said verbatim. She's a real ass bitch. She's a strong black woman and she held me down at my lowest, even at my lowest. Everything he said about Rihanna was what she did for him, not who Rihanna is as a person outside of the support and sacrifices she made for him. I can't speak for other races, but the definition of love for black African men is where a woman sacrifices herself for their benefit, including their mothers. Most black African men love the sacrifices their mothers made for them, but they don't love their mothers as a person. This dynamic shapes dating, relationships, and marriage of choices of black African men. Black African men's definition of love is where a woman deprives herself or is in a state of suffering to support their man. What say you guys? What do you think? What do you think, Donna? You guys watching in the comments, what do we think? You agree?
I agree. I agree. When she's saying black African, does she mean like just black men in general?
Black men. Because
Right.
like following on from the conversation that we had, we are all of African descent, like it or not. So when she's saying black stroke African, she's saying
Oh no, I agree with you, of course. I'm not being silly. I'm just want to know in what context she's speaking, she's referring.
yeah. No, I
Yeah,
know. I'm just saying
yeah.
because we are all of African descent, like it or not, boy. But yeah, go on.
Yeah. There's some things you can't change. So yeah, I feel that to an extent she's right. But I feel what she's commenting on, and given she's a doctor of sociology, she's really pointing to what patriarchy has done. Patriarchy has made it that a woman's only value is to sacrifice and basically suffer for the benefit of A, her male, and B, the wider family group. So I don't think she's pointing to anything exceptional. However, in the black context, I feel that it does have a slightly stronger kind of, at least a stronger impact, because what happens if you're not a strong black woman?
Right.
What happens if you don't have the capacity to, as we say in professional, hold that space, hold all of that space for your man, for whatever's going on for your family? What happens then? Are you now
Right.
weak? Are you now disposable? Do you now lack value? And I think that's a whole conversation to be had. How women are seen through the patriarchal lens, and as you said before, at a more intersectional level, how black women are seen by their men. Do we always have to be strong? And
Mm.
he didn't really talk. But then, and this is why this show is so good, because equally, Trisha, he's a public
Yeah.
person, she's a public person. Maybe he doesn't
Yeah.
want to talk about the way, she's kind to him. A bit, being a bit more detailed about the many facets I'm sure exist within Rihanna's personality. Maybe he doesn't want the press to know. So
Yeah.
he's just talking about the things that he can immediately point to, which is how she held him down, trying to demonstrate this is my woman. And so I see both sides really. Why would he tell the people them his business? Oh, I love the way she sets my bath and creams my feet. That's not, I'm not black man now, got to see that. But he kind of stuck to headline topics rather than going into minute detail. I don't know, but I do feel from a higher level of conversation that, yeah, unless we add value and we're ready to suffer, then or be strong, then yeah, there's little appreciation for anything else.
Right. Greetings, Rosemary. How you doing, Sugar Plum? Davina, I think, is blowing you a kiss. Vili says, very interesting. Unfortunately, there's some truth in that. I think there's some truth in that. I think that a lot of men, trying to choose my words carefully, but this is no bravado, so should we just talk it? But there was
Okay.
there's a lot of single households, single parent households, and I think a lot of men were raised by women, and they quantify what a woman is like by example of their mum. So they then in turn think that this is what a woman should be like. Um, and then it's almost as if you want a mum, but you want a partner at the same time. And that's where it becomes exhausting for us because not your mum. But in their heads, that's how they quantify women based on example. And I think because of the absence of the man, that's played a huge part in the unbalance, really, because it's the man's needed to show an example and to take on some of that responsibility to show the man. Am I making sense or am I
You are,
rambling?
no,
'Cause
no, you're making
I'm
perfect
fighting
sense.
for my words today,
No,
but
no,
yeah,
no,
I'm trying to
no,
say.
you made perfect sense, sis. But I just wanted to say this is a problem if you speak to, and in my academic work, you speak to a lot of Asian women. Now they've got two-parent households predominantly, but it's the same issue. It's
Oh,
about,
really?
yeah, because it's the men, the boys in the two-parent situation equally look at the mum who does everything and think,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the kind of wife I want. And
Right.
so they don't, the male role is just there, you know, but it's the mum who does everything, they they will still be of a big age and mum's doing their washing and their ironing and cooking for them and all of this stuff. And so
Yeah.
Asian women have a similar experience to us in terms of um partnership, because you effectively date a big baby who is expecting you to do everything the mum did and then still sleep with them. So it's very difficult. We were having conversations around how unsexy it is to be partnered with a man who kind of points to his mum as a model. But when you speak to, because you see a lot of these men have never really spoken to their mum as we do as women, for the mum to say it was hell, and a couple of times
Right.
me nearly catch my skin. And I couldn't see my way. I didn't know, they don't have those comments. They just see what mum does. Like, mum's brilliant. And that's the kind of woman I want and I'm going to look for. But they don't really understand what mum sacrificed to provide this illusion of efficiency, capability, and competency. They don't have those conversations. But because we're girl children, you're far more likely for your mum to tell you, listen, girl, no, do this with this man, because do you understand what I'm trying to say? We
Right.
communicate in a different way. Yeah.
Yeah. Davina's saying, Trish, you know how I feel about generalization. I agree this may be true for some, but by no means do I think it's true for all. Yeah, I kind of feel like it's an unspoken, like, it's never everybody. Um yeah, it's never, for me, it's never about everybody is this. And I think I opened up by saying a lot of people grew up with their mums, and that's how they see women and the type of woman that they want. And then I've heard women saying, it's like it's like I'm having sex with a child. He's like
Yeah.
a big child.
Right.
I'm not his mum. So you hear the frustrations and you see it based on where this comes from. And then there is an element of struggle love that I'm just not subscribing to. I'm not subscribing. Why do I have to be bleeding love to show that I love you? Like, no.
I mean, and I was having this conversation with a gentleman yesterday. I think two things can be true at the same time. I think when we look at human relationships, it's always what the woman brings that is questioned. We talk about, can she cook? Can she clean? Can she do all of these things? But we never really question the competency of the men and what their abilities are, or it's not looked in the same way. And that's because we live in a patriarchal capitalist system, right? So it's always about what the oppressed are doing, what are the oppressed bringing to this table. And women are oppressed, right, under patriarchy. I also feel that Black love has always had a strong element of struggle, simply because we live very much in the bottom rungs in most of the Western countries that we inhabit. Do you understand? You might get one and two. And I do take Davina's point about generalizations, but when
Yeah.
compared to the rest of us, it's just one and two, maybe five and six. But the majority, we live very much at the bottom rung, often hand to mouth. So there is going to be an element of struggle. I think what we've got to decide is just how much, what does it look like? What does it feel like? And how much of that do we want to take on? And are we actually better struggling on our own than taking on a man baby who's going to add to the load of the struggle? I think that's a similar conversation that can run concurrently.
When I was talking about struggle love, I mean, that's a good point, but I'm talking about like someone put in No Bravado about a year ago, that if you, like, basically emotionally batter the woman and she's still there, that's the one that you should marry.
Ross.
That's the one that loves you. If you've cheated on her and she's accepted you back, and you've done things and she's forgiven you and she's stood by you through all of these things, that's the one you should marry, because that's the one that's loyal. And it's like, so you really think that emotionally beating me to shit is what makes me then worthy of waving a ring? Like,
Because their mum stayed. And I think
yeah,
this is part of the generational conversation. The mum stayed. So to the boys, they look like saints. But to us girl children, them say, have your own bank account. No make no man moving on your house. No make him know how much you earn. Do you understand? Buy a
yeah,
house with your sister. No buy a house with your husband. Buy a house with your sister. So as much as they were this thing to the boys who thought, oh, mummy, I'm 36 and she's still washing my underpants and ironing my shirts. And they think it's great. The messages we received from our mothers and grandmothers was, they're idiots, so be careful what you do. Do you understand? And I think that's part of the division, because
yeah,
men want a overly capable wife, and we're running for the hills because we're like, we've already been told 2 generations back that you ain't worth the risk. The investment is not worth the risk. So yeah, I think 2 things can be true. I just think how we work it out individually or whatever. But I think we have a lot of man babies. And
yeah,
equally, women do not want the suffer love. I mean, they think that cheating and emotional oppression is great because they saw their dads cheat. They saw Miss Myrna and all these people. It's like the worst kept secret
it's
within the
murder.
family. And mum still stayed.
Yeah.
But they think, yeah, that's what you should do. You should put up with my shit. I can even have a child on you. How many
Yeah.
Caribbean women of that generation? My family is littered with step uncles
I
who
do.
were children that were dropped off and raised by people. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Because they were
Yeah.
outside children. So for me, yeah, when you mention that emotional, oppression, yeah, it's expected that we will just hold it because our mothers and grandmothers held it.
Right. And it's definitely changing, and I think that's why we're getting the rep that we're masculine and we're this and we're that, because people are no longer putting up with that. Really, see, the problem is wanting their women to be like their mum. Yeah, I agree. All right, so what did No Bravado Massive say on this topic? Let's have a look. D Rich said, I loved listening to him talk about how she was there for him and what it meant to him and what it meant to him. At the same time, I also picked up on the fact that she took on a bit of a mother role, and this seems to be what he values in her. I think this is very common in our community. It's quite sad that he couldn't list things he loves about her as a person without making it about what she's done for him. I think the post is generalizing black men a bit too much, but I definitely think this does happen, particularly with men who grew up without fathers and have mothers who baby them. This is interesting for sure. So she's basically saying what I was trying to find my words and say. That's basically it. Um, Hang on. Yeah. Hang on. All right, so it's just a conversation between me and her. Diego de Boss said maybe he ain't good with words like that, and he's showing that his gratitude is more about respect, love, and loyalty, as she stood by him and made him a king and not run for the hills as many probably would. So, because of that and who she is and his personal feelings outside of that, he chose to speak on what many wouldn't be strong enough to do in today's world. It's easy to replace and repair if that makes sense. See, men and women think differently. Men tend to look at things a lot like what you just heard and won't say other stuff publicly because vulnerability and vulture be a worry to protect us facts, more or less what you just said. Yeah, you're not going to just say everything publicly, and that's to protect her as well. I could go on and on. However, I think he gave the world what he wanted them to know about his personal life. um Charlene said, sometimes it isn't about what we say, it's our actions that can show a person how you feel. Many people say a lot but don't do shit back their words. We can all be there during good times, but for me, it's when you're at your darkest moments that you show me your real character and how you handle real situations. Life isn't always pretty. I need to know that you're down for the rough as well as the good. How do you handle serious situations? Can you manage when I'm not good? Fidel said, I love them. Fidel said, I love them as a couple. They have for each other 100%. Little Miss Simpson said, I've not watched the interview in full, but many clips. I've seen I clips I have seen made me feel that he is in love with the whole lot more than just the mugly side of Riri. Although in parts he praises her fierce loyalty towards him, I feel like he's more in awe of her achievements and the way she balances that love with love, time, and care towards his children primarily, as well as himself. I do agree, though, that far too many men are looking for potential caregivers in women, but I honestly didn't feel that ASAP displayed that. Neither did I. I watched the whole interview, and he did say she is an awesome person. He said that. But that somehow got left out of the conversation. Um, I watched the interview and believe there's a deep, genuine love between them. Maybe he spoke on her support as one of the examples of why he loves her. Maybe him being at a low point in his life and supporting through adds to all of the things that make their relationship work. Sometimes I think we pick and dig holes into people's relationships way too much, especially with some bits they choose to share outside. Colette said, Gosh, man, leave the man alone. There's always some fool picking nonsense out of nothing. He has nobody heard of video edits. He was picking up his woman, not himself. Jeez. Vanessa Price said, What? his wife did for him speaks volumes about her personality without him having to further explain. Deb Ora said that this is it. Men do expect the whole "she makes me better person" malarkey. How about being responsible for yourself, your actions, your emotions before trying to commit to someone? There is no doubt he loves her deeply. I've not watched the interview and probably won't. From the off, I've said he's gay or bi,
Yeah.
whatever. She blatantly minds him, and I reckon he gave her the security she needed after her relationship with Chris, hence why she's content having all of her children with him. If it works for them and they're happy, good luck to them. Um, but she didn't deprive, says Norma. She cared for him whilst holding herself down too. Sometimes we try but slip because it's hard to remember who you are in between it all.
I think it's
And
just also addition because I also follow this lady, Dr. Z, the sociologist,
yeah,
for research purposes only. And I take note of what you said about she's left that bit where he said, you know, she's amazing and all of that stuff. She tends to kind of focus or aim her post at this, you know, black men are no good, and that's if you follow her, right? So
right,
I'm not what I'm trying to say is I'm not surprised at the comments because her post would have been intentional and she would have missed out the parts where ASAP Rocky says, yeah, she's fantastic, and then goes on to say she held me down, she's this, she's that. So I just also want to just give that context. A lot of her posts are very no, not
but that
problematic but quite divisive.
right, yeah, but then that's why they feel so attacked by us because that's not true. It's not true. Then what
Who's the
she's saying,
they?
like a lot of black men that use, I'm not going to say all, a lot, because there's a lot of black men that feel loved by black women and vice versa. But online, there's a lot of toxicity as well, and they do feel attacked by us, same way we feel attacked by them. But if we're saying that she purposely leaves out the full picture just to say that black men are no good, then that's not fair, is it?
No, and I feel, and maybe we'll come back and do it on another No Bravado. And it would be good to do like what we do at Christmas, or is it March? We have that kind of like panel discussion because what she's promoting will not work for us
Right. Keeps the
because
division alive, isn't it? Division between the men and women, division between Africans and Caribbeans, just division.
I, it's a scarcity mindset, and I understand it because we're under attack. We're in a, you
Yeah,
know, very right wing kind of global environment where everything is being dug up and looked at and trying to cause division. And I just find her post, her kind of narrative, it's not really helpful. And I find the only real division between men and women online. In real life, I don't experience it
we
so
don't really
much,
see it. Yeah,
but online it's visceral. Like, do you know what I mean? It's and it's lethal too. And I feel that we need to have a conversation around how we respect and talk to each other online, even because
yeah,
we need black men and black men need black women.
we do.
Um,
Agreed.
and we're going to need each other even more with all this rubbish that's coming down the pipe, politically, economically. We're going to need to kind of have that cohesion. So, yes, I have just sat here and said that, you know, we have a lot of grown men babies that want women. And I'm sure that's true across the board in every race. But equally, we
Yeah,
need black men. And I think there's a bigger conversation to be had around how they become competent in that partnership so that it's not just on the woman, so that it's on both of them. And I think there's
right.
some relief and love in that, to be fair. We're never gonna, you know, no one's not coming to fly me off to the south of France and then the next morning we're in New York and Paris. Those kind of black love stories are like I said, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. However, for the rest of us, it's kind of like a different. We're living at a different level, at a different vibration. So you have to work out: do you want to live with a man, baby, or is it, you know, can you navigate your way? Is he willing to do more? And I think this is a wider conversation here. But Dr. Z, she's quite not very, she's quite controversial in some of her posts. I don't know if something's happened in her personal life,
Yeah,
but she's quite controversial.
Yeah. Davina says, although I um, agree and although I agree what and how he said may have looked, I find it interesting that even when praising his partner, fault was still found. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And so it's
yeah,
true when they say, you see black men say it like other women keep black women single. Because actually,
yeah.
why is this? We should
What?
be, yeah, why is this not being like, look at that? All right, it is a focus on our strength. But that's how the world sees us because the world has put us through the ringer, predominantly white systemic racism. It's put black women and black men through the ringer. And so we're only here through our strength and our resilience. So it is a focal point when you're talking about the majority of black women, our strength, our ability to cope, hold space, and still lead, right? In and out of our homes. But I didn't take, because I too watched the interview, I didn't take that he was in any way like
No,
putting on Rihanna. Actually, I thought it was nice to see a black man speak well and lovingly of his
highly
wife.
of
That's
his
what I
partner.
felt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But why I found the post interesting is because I had this conversation with a man recently
Hmm.
about man baby stuff and looking at us as mums, and then she kind of broke it down. So, but I don't think she done it fairly. It was kind of like below the belt because it wasn't like Enchanter Joseph says it's all about context. I've seen many interviews and exchanges where ASAP has praised Ree and has professed love for who she is. He desires her, he respects her, and is the father of her kids. He's stuck by her chosen. Okay, my you are charging. What is your problem? Stop it. Um, chosen alleged tensions between her and his mum. Besides, isn't making sacrifices for your partner one aspect that earns and attracts and respects love. Beautiful Wallaby said, I don't know the dynamic of the relationship, nor do I need to, but when I see them off duty moments, I see a couple who deeply love and respect each other. Their evident friendship, playfulness, and inability to keep from touching or hugging each other is a joy to see. Whatever it is that they have and however they got to where it is, it's truly beautiful and long may it last. Yeah, I agree. But yeah, very interesting. I don't know how much longer this speaker's gonna give me. So I'm gonna go into the next topic, but then if I have to cut off, then I'll wrap it up as discreetly as I can. Um, so yeah, but yeah, I do think that she has a point about men looking for mothers in relationships, and I do think that yeah, they need to stop basically.
But so again, I speak to a lot of men, and recently in a conversation, a man said, it's not that we want you to be our mothers,
Right,
but they want softness from us,
right.
which I
I get
suppose
that.
is similar to the softness that you get, the unconditional softness. He's like, we're looking for a soft place to land. We want our relationships to be not a place of combat or competition, but a soft place for us to land. And I thought that was an interesting
Yeah, yeah,
perception.
yeah. And it's not an unreasonable request either.
No, I don't think it's an unreasonable request, but I do wonder if black men are a soft place for us to land in relationship.
No, I think I think that there are absolutely. I think I'm going to speak for myself just to avoid generalizing. I think there are absolutely great soft men for us to land out there. I just don't pick them, so I have to take responsibility for that.
Yeah.
I think that like once I notice I'm attracted to a particular type of man, and they might have something that is on they wear their masks. Everyone wears their mask in the beginning, And then once you get to the fundamentals of it, actually, it's the same cycle, it's the same characteristics, and you're attracted to that. So that's something that me personally, needs to look at.
100%. I suppose
Do you
soft.
understand what I'm saying?
No,
There's
100%.
great men out there, but if you keep picking the same character, that don't mean all men are bad. It means you just pick shit characters. Does that make sense?
Right. And so you pick the characters that don't have softness at the forefront, right? And that's I agree with you. And I know we're 2 days apart in birthdays, but I agree with you. I
One,
think
you're one,
one
we're
day
one
apart
there.
even, sorry. Yeah, and you have to hold yourself accountable for the types of men that you pick. Yeah, and I think that's a great point of reflection because I too am there. I'm like, I don't know if I want to be with a soft man, but I want a soft life. So, you know, I don't want
I
to be
want
with
them
I don't want to be
both.
with like a dweeb. But what is a dweeb?
But
Exactly.
just so just head hanging down and no confidence. Um, but I met a guy at my shop the other day. He stopped by because he liked the stuff, and we got to talking, and he was saying that he was like, the stuff is beautiful, and I was like, well, buy something for your missus or someone special. He's like, I'm single, I ain't got nobody. And I was like, why? Good looking man like yourself, why have you not got? Because he was good looking guy. Why have you not got anybody? And he was like, oh, it's just too toxic out there. And then we just got into this really deep conversation where he disclosed that he's been celibate for 2 years, and he's proud to say that he's been celibate because he doesn't masturbate, nothing. He said, I'm just holding my space until I meet that one. Blah, blah, blah. And we just had this really interesting, deep conversation. But was he my type? No. But would he probably be a good man? He was good looking, but it just wasn't my type.
More than that, he's got
Discipline,
yes.
and will probably be absolutely a good man. But would I go out and pick that man if I was out and met a man in the lineup? Would I pick him? No.
No.
So it's something for me to look at. Do you understand what I'm saying? Me would go for the tall, dark, handsome, muscly, bossy.
This is a very interesting conversation because,
Yeah, and expect a different result. So
yeah. So the edgy guy, would he have that level of personal discipline over himself sexually? That
insight, discipline, and everything. But would that guy be the guy that I would pick? No. But if now, like, say for instance, if he came back to the shop and we developed a friendship, I would be open to it because he seemed like a really nice, insightful, disciplined, educated man.
mm,
But not necessarily my type to look at. Good looking, but just not what I would go for. But
I'm
what
in a
I would go
similar
for,
position myself.
yeah, what I would go for is not necessarily um to be you're naughty, you know. He's gonna explode when it finally happens.
That got
That
gushing out. They're gonna need the fire brigade because she'll be stuck to the ceiling surely.
yeah, we got what you meant. But yeah, it puts me to think because I'm a overthinker and I do self reflect heavily. And I think for me, it's been 4 years of celibacy now. I think I'm
Lord God Jesus.
yeah, I do 5 and 6 easy. Um, I've got really strong beliefs about spiritual sexual ties though. So I try to be very careful about who I let inside of my body. But again, I always got to pick the demon to go and go sleep with. So like sometimes what's the freaking point of doing all of that if you're still gonna pick the same demon? So yeah, I
Yeah, but
say all of that.
this is the problem. Demons are not the problem. Demons are exciting. But then we know what we're saying now is we know what comes with that. And I I think the next time I might give a little dweeb a chance. I mean, ultimately, I'm going to break him, but at least you can say on my CV, she gave a nice guy a chance.
Yeah, as
Yeah,
because there are many nice guys out there, they're just not picked as often, and that's us as women. To You can't say all men are this and all men are that when we're not giving all men a chance.
yeah.
Um, yeah, do you know what I mean?
So if you're out there and you're dweebish, we you can contact Trisha, and she will, she'll give you my contact details. We're going to do this, Trisha. We're going to do this.
I'm done with you. All right, we've got 15 minutes left. I don't know if my speaker's going to last the 15 minutes, but let's
Okay,
see.
babe.
Let's see what it does. All right, last topic. Um, all right, I'll let you choose. My friend is now with my husband. How much time passed is acceptable? Or if you've got access to your 72-year-old's father's money and he's given specific instructions, do you
Let's
follow
do the
them?
first one because I read that today when you told me to go in the group and pick. I read that one and I was like, what a silly cow. Honestly. Eh?
The best friend with the husband. All right, so
Eh?
let's share
Come on.
the Hang on. Davina says, "I wish I was that disciplined with myself with my self entertainment."
I'm with you. I'm with you, D. You're not alone. It's a lot. Don't worry about me. My room sounds like a group, a series of barbershops. It's a lot of things. It's terrible. 10 years. What is wrong with you lot? Yo, there. You got people out there that you can just. I hear you about the soul ties. I've never bothered about that because I'm a real demon. So it's their risk, not mine. But yeah, like what? Ah! Please charge.
I can't. I just can't, and it's not sitting on a higher level
No, people do
or
with sex. Yeah, we're different sexually, isn't it?
yeah, and it's not like I'm not sitting here on a lily pad like some Shaolin monk. That's not what it is. If I meet somebody that I like and I find sexually attracted, I will date you, and I
Why
will
do you have
probably.
to like them? Just knock them, guaps them, and it's next.
No, I can't. I have to like them. Not I feel violated. That's the
I just,
problem.
I just have to be attracted, and that's it, boy.
And then yeah, then
But we're not
you're done.
interested. We're not getting
Um,
joint bank accounts or moving in.
I've gone 10 years before. Currently 2 years, but gosh, it's hard. She's laughing, but yeah. I don't know. I can't just no. I can't.
No, don't,
I
and you
can't
shouldn't, babes, and nobody should ever. Do you
do.
understand? Everybody's got
Yeah.
their the way that they, and I'm in awe of people like yourself, Davina, and other people that practice and are open about their celibacy. I think it's fantastic. I just know I don't have that level of discipline, and equally, I am open to saying that. Like, I'm not
And
that
I
girl.
don't see nothing wrong with it, to be
No.
fair. I think people just be allowed to be who they are. So yeah, without judgment, personally. So
Mm.
yeah. Rosemary said, totally agree with the spiritual side of sex. No, sir. Yeah, man. Like the last person I slept with, I swear to God, it was like everything just fell apart after I let him into my life. Um, like seriously. Some people might say it failed to get health wise. And before anyone says, did he give me a sexual transmitted disease? No. But health wise, I just wasn't like I had fibroids and they were fine and then they all flared back up. Just all kinds of things, all because I just let the wrong person in. So I'm very
Why is Dion Adriana Thompson? Why is she even commenting on this? Stay in your house and be very quiet. Talk to her, Trisha. Look, you see, she got laughing emojis.
Dion. Oh, I can't. You too. Let me share this screen, y'all. Hang on. Right. So this is our last topic. Hopefully we can make it. Share screen. Share screen. All right, so this is the scenario. My friend is now with my husband. How much time passed is acceptable? I'm 52, and my husband and I separated 2 years ago after 12 years of marriage. We're not divorced yet, but our relationship is over and we've both been living separately. My close friend has been there through everything. She knew every detail of my marriage, every argument, every time I cried, every complaint I ever made about him. She was the person telling me I deserved better. She was there for me when I needed her. Last week, I found out that she and my husband had now seen each other, not from either of them, but from a mutual friend. When I confronted her, she admitted it and said, "You left him. You said you were done. I never touched him whilst you were together." She says they started talking after the separation because he was struggling. One thing led to another and they developed feelings. And she went on to state, "It's been a while now that we have been separated and I should move on like I said I had." My husband says My husband says I have no right to be angry because I ended the marriage and repeatedly told everyone I would never go back. But here's what's really messed with my head. My friend knew things about my husband that only I had told her privately. She knew what I loved about him and what I hated about him, what our problems were, and even intimate details about our relationship. Now I'm wondering whether she was genuinely supporting me all these years or quietly watching my marriage from the sidelines. She insists she never fancied him before and says you can't help who you fall for. I told her there were millions of men in the world and my husband, even separated, should have been permanently off limits. She says I'm being possessive over a man I no longer wanted. So, is your friend's husband or ex husband always off limits? Does it make a difference that the marriage was already over? Who has betrayed her more, the husband or the friend? Or once a relationship ends, is everybody technically fair game? What's your thoughts?
I think this is a world class lesson in not sharing everything about your relationship with outside people. I think that I think it's wrong, personally, to seek the attentions of anybody that's been out with any of your people before, right? Um, because I think there are emotions there, right? There are. It doesn't matter whether you're separated or not. There will still be emotions. One or both
Absolutely.
parties will still have residual emotions.
Right.
They're not divorced, and I know in today's, that might not mean anything, but I think that woman was never her friend. I think she saw an opportunity, or as things played out, there was an opportunity and she seized it. And she would
Right.
have known equally that the husband was vulnerable, and that's where she went in at that point, at that kind of soft part. She found that she went in, and I think it's a very, very interesting post because as women, we tend to commune with our girls, right? We
Right. We
tend to
do.
tell them how we feel about our partner, what's working, what's not working. But there's always that risk, isn't there, that what you share can be sooner or later weaponized against you.
Against you.
And I think
Yeah.
that's the challenge of girl code or friendship, because she knows how she feels about her, and more than likely she's used that information to model herself as I would never be Trisha. I'm Donna, and I would never do that. Do you
Yeah.
understand? People use
Yeah.
that kind of insider information to say, I would, knowing that that didn't work. Well, I would never be that. And it's a thing with us as women. We I don't know if it's out of desperation, but we tend to want to take up other people's rubbish. And I think it's just untidy. To be fair, I just think it's untidy. She was
Yeah.
waiting her turn,
She
and you
was.
you never
Yeah.
know. You never know. Them say one man rubbish is another man's treasure. No, so
Yeah, but not in your friendship group, blood. Um,
no,
I don't agree with that. I'm no angel. I've had FWBs, but I can go without. What's FWB?
I don't know what FWB is.
Mm. Let us know what FWB is, Davina. What I'm going through now is very difficult at present, and the devil will have to come out soon. What are you talking about, D? Let us know.
Oh,
Rosemary, she was never your friend. I agreed. Vili said she lied. Um, No damn time can pass. She ain't your friend. I don't care. I'm not seeing none of my friends' exes. We could all buck up in heaven or hell. Still not on it. Yeah. Off limits. Why
Yeah.
would I want my friend's sloppy seconds though? Come on.
Yeah.
Your penis. Yeah. It's true. Why would you? But people do literally sit around in the sidelines waiting to see if you're gonna what's gonna happen in your relationship and step in there.
They
And
do it before, during, and after, and I always feel that it can be other women, not girl, other women out there, but when it's your close people, that level of betrayal. Ah,
yeah,
you know, there's a situation that I'm aware of right now, and the 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 side lady is the couple's babysitter, and when this shit hits the fan, I tell you, this wife is gonna probably dig herself a fresh grave because this woman is inside your home.
right.
Right? So that level of betrayal, they're friends. This is her friend. She calls her when they need help or to look after the children, etc. But the whole time, the rest of us know that the same lady is in the husband.
Diddling her husband.
Mm,
Ain't no one gonna tell her.
not me, said the little pig.
Why?
Because I'm 52 now and it takes me longer to get up and find something to fight. And it's not my steam, right? It's not my thing. I'm like,
I'd want to know. I'd feel really
it has
betrayed
been
if everybody
raised. It
knew.
has been raised, and both parties have made utterances that have convinced the wife that there is nothing in it. But
Right,
yet, in other spaces, people are seeing and notes are being made
right.
around, you know, time away together, flights abroad, and all of this stuff. But if you were to ask the wife, she would say no. Apparently, they've even been before their pastor. And the pastor said, "Look, is this a situation?" And they, no, I'm a family friend. I would never do that. But you see, the gal there, them type of women
Yeah,
there,
demons, boy.
demons, and there to get the biggest rassing for real. There to get
Yeah,
is them you to take off your shoes heel and cluck in their face
and beat
because
them
that
up.
level of betrayal, Trisha, is life changing.
But who's betrayed more, the husband or the friend?
I think both. I think
Right.
both. I don't think we really, we say the husband, the husband or the friend, but you've meant more to me, Dion, Denise, others at times when I was in my relationship. Do you understand? Sometimes our
Yeah,
systems fill gaps that are not always apparent in our relationships. Do you understand?
yeah,
That are not always covered. So you share those intimate details, how you feel, what your thought, and we all do. It's not just you one singing to the group. Equally, people will share their feelings and thoughts. And I
yeah,
just think it's the highest level of betrayal, other than your man cheating on you and bringing a you in or something like that. It's like up
yeah.
there with that. Yeah.
It is. It is. Friends with benefits, previous topic. Yeah, okay. But we still wanted to know what friends with benefits was.
Oh,
What FW, so it's friends with benefits. Oh gosh, I heard a story like this before about 20 years ago. I've experienced a friend going with my boyfriend, and it changed me as a person. Um, and it happened when I was young. But this guy, for some reason, I just loved the dirt he walked on. So it crushed me when he got with my friend and had a baby with my friend. And it changed me as a person. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I was ever the same. I became very no nonsense when it came to men because of that. Um, so yeah, it's very heartbreaking when it happens. But
very, very.
leave
I
them
don't
all
know.
to
So
come.
how comes you're not in jail then?
Because if I'll be honest with you, my mum drilled it into me from young that if you have to fight over a man, it's not your man. She used to always say it to me, don't find yourself, your knickers skin out, everything happening because you're fighting over a man. Don't do that. But I'll be honest with you, the day that I found out, I went to her house and her mum said she wasn't there. And then I came in and I spoke to my mum about it and I cried and my mum hugged me and then she gave me a talking to. And it just snapped in like now. So if he chose her, he chose her. What you gonna do? Fight the
No,
girl for what?
no,
For
I
what?
didn't mean the
He
girl.
wants to be.
I didn't mean the girl. I meant him.
He was already in jail when I found out. So
Well, let me be
he
fully
was in prison
transparent.
when I found out.
I have a
Uh,
similar situation where somebody I know and our children went to school together
yeah,
was there with my ex in the same time that I was with my ex. So when we're talking about, this thing is deep, like there are just levels to this. And I often wondered why this particular individual stopped speaking to me just out of the blue. And
right.
because obviously you don't put two and two together at the time, but now afterwards,
You know what's
I'm like,
what? Yeah.
but see, I look on this,
Look upon you. Yeah.
look on you, you know. And really, they should sell crutches insurance because I'm just like, what? So it is, and even though we're not particularly close, and she's not part of my inner circle, there's still the feelings of betrayal for both of them, for him and for
Yeah.
her. I'm like, yo,
Yeah. Yeah, mum is right. A lot of like I've been in certain situations where women have gotten away with a lot of things that they wouldn't get away with because it's over guys. I'm not fighting, and I'm a person that don't take checks. But if I think the check's coming over a man, and me and this good woman's going to be rolling on the floor over a man, I'll take the check. I'm not in it. I'm just not in it. I'm not fighting over no dude.
yeah.
Um, and it's been drilled in me from I was a young woman. Billy's laughing. All right, what did the No Bravado Massive say on this? It's 10 o'clock, so time to log off. But let's just round off quickly and see what they had to say before we round off. But this is more common than we think. A lot
Mm,
of people out there sleeping with their friends, man, and it's disgusting. No, no, no. Your friend was never your friend. It's the so-called friend that has betrayed her trust. Your friend's husband or partner is permanently off limits. No exceptions, no excuses. Regardless of the breakup, the marriage, no self-respecting person should want to be with a friend's ex. She must have been side-eyeing him the whole time. Ladies, be careful who you share your thoughts and your lives with. This can be the outcome, 100%. They've been having an entanglement for a period of time, says Stephen Mose. Um, Niga said the only time you shouldn't go there if you are together. Plus, who are we two people? I'm not going to read it because these people will have you out here looking like you're illiterate and you're not. I don't know what he's saying. Errol Thompson, you must have told her the good sex things about him in your friend chats, and now she was waiting her chance to get a taste
mm,
and rate it over your friendship. Friends don't have to have any part in your private life. I bet she was encouraging you to dash him away, and was right there to pick him up. That said, you and him split, so nothing unless you was still giving him a little front for old times'
no.
sake.
I think when comments like that completely erode the emotional, like people still have emotional attachments, right?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
Irregardless. Yeah,
right.
irregardless. But it made me laugh out then and it's made me laugh out loud now. Um, Helen says a similar situation happened to a friend of mine. Her mum confided in a friend about her marriage issues, and it turned out that this friend had an affair with my friend's dad, even resulting in a couple of kids. What's wild is that the mum's friend would chat with her about the intimate details she shared. Now my friend has half siblings because of her mum's friend's infidelity with her dad.
Yeah,
Wild. Um,
wild.
she was never your friend, says Tunde. She had her eyes on your husband from early. They'd probably been exchanging bodily fluids for a good while before they separated. Yeah. Tunde's funny, though. That was a calm comment from him. No sympathy from me whatsoever, says Richard G. In fact, I sincerely hope the ex-friend absolutely blows his mind and perhaps a few other things whilst she's at it, gives him the kind of appreciation he clearly wasn't getting and treats him like a proper king. I can't
Okay,
stand
Richie.
being I can't stand being with someone who airs my private business without my consent. There's something deeply disrespectful about exposing the intimate details of your relationship to other people. It sounds like the woman gave up far too much information. The friend obviously saw something in him that his wife had become complacent about and was taken for granted. It's not like the friend is ever going to hear both sides of the story unless she's like the woman and tells everybody everything. Now, would I do that to my brethren? No. However, my brethren also knows that there are certain boundaries and not everything I need to know about his girl. I still don't think confiding in your girlfriend should result in, well, that's your
No,
fault.
I don't think
Yeah,
it should be either or either. And I think our girlfriends have a really strong role to play well, for me,
emotional support
yeah,
anyway.
emotion, because my head is not good. So sometimes you need a sounding board, right? Sometimes you need somebody who's gonna speak, you know, kind of sleep on it today, D, and see what it's like tomorrow. That's what I need. And I'm sure if
Yeah,
my friends were here, you would say the same thing. Like, D, you might feel differently about this next week or tomorrow, whatever it is. So they have an important role. I don't think you sacrifice that just because you're in a relationship. But
right.
equally, you have to walk into that knowing I run the risk by sharing what's going on for me personally and privately. You run the risk of people weaponizing that. And you never
Yeah,
know where your girlfriends are emotionally, what they may want, how they see your partner. You just don't.
yeah, yeah. Davina says she was never your friend, much less close friend. Nothing to talk about here. They know what they're doing. They're happily doing it. Your hurt won't change that because neither cares and probably never did. Take your pains, feel it, heal from it, and leave them to get on with it. They deserve one another.
100% D. Yeah.
Also, take this as a lesson to keep your business to yourself. I understand having someone to confide in. I have that, but I never divulge every single detail of my relationship like that. Not everything is to be talked about. Um, yeah, that seems to be the sentiment of a few people. So I said, I hear you. I think it's sad that we can't trust one friend though. So Davina
Yeah.
saying, I trust my bona fides, but that doesn't mean they have to know everything that happens in my relationship. Just like I don't want to know everything about theirs. Only time I need to be involved is if violence is involved. Other than that, your personal business is just that, and mine is mine. Shush, man. Whatever goes on behind closed doors should remain there. No friend should know the size of your man's penis or how he drops it. No friend should know every time he does something to upset you, etc., etc., etc. Communication and resolution starts and remains in the home. I hear her. I'm not sure I agree.
I don't think it's realistic, and I don't think that people tell every minute detail. But when you're hurt or there's something
Yeah,
happened,
something's
or
happened.
yeah, you want, or you should have the right to share it with your close person, people, whatever it is. So yeah,
Yeah. Colin said, I'm going to be very harsh. Serves you damn right. Women chat, chat, chat too much. You put your business out there and nobody else did but you. Now you want to cry wolf. Friends don't do friends that way. You were wrong for sharing details from the onslaught. Stop telling friends every little thing that goes on in your marriage, your bedroom secrets. He did this. Oh, he did that. What goes in your home is nobody's business. Stop being gullible. She was never your friend and she had her eye on the prize a long time ago. I believe she was your friend at the beginning, but you let your guard down. I have friends that never knew what goes on in my house when I was married behind in my married or my home behind closed doors. One must learn that marriage is very private. It doesn't negate the fact that your friend was still out of order. She has had feelings for him for a while and simply was about timing. Both of them are low down and never respected you. Friends are off limits. We all know as adults the friend code. I wouldn't be surprised if they had been sleeping around you the entire time. Sad situation, but you are to blame. Loose lips sinks ships is a famous American idiom that means careless, unguarded talk can reveal secrets and cause disaster. It serves as a warning not to share sensitive information that the enemy or the competitor could use against you. I think Davina told him to not generalize, and he said, yeah. I take that on the chin. That Alison Etienne said that's why people should use counsellors for deeper marriage problems. You can't disclose all. Plus, some friends would encourage you to do things that they wouldn't do in their own relationship. They put up with certain things but encourage you to leave. My close friendship rule since young is we never date our friends' ex partners. It's standard. Who wants sloppy seconds anyway?
Ugh. That's what I thought when I found out about my situation. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You
Why
just,
would you do that?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's it
Um,
though.
Irina said out of all the men in the world, she decided to have her closest one she knew. She's a prick. She's a pick me bitch, sorry, with low self esteem. Girl code broken, it's not competition. Jackie said wrong on every level. Boundaries crossed. Frenemy, I'd feel so betrayed by this. It's a no-no, says Charlene. Natty said, this is actually more common than people care to admit. After 2 years of separation, I don't think you can reasonably say your ex-husband must remain single or that you can have claim over who he dates. The marriage is over and both people are entitled to move on. But your close friend is a completely different issue. This wasn't some random woman who he met 2 years later. This was someone you trusted with your most private details of your marriage. She knew your arguments, vulnerabilities, intimate information, and everything you were going through because you trusted her as your friend. That doesn't necessarily mean she secretly wanted him all along. Feelings genuinely can develop later. But once they did, friendship should not have required that. Hang on. But once they did, friendship should have required an honest conversation with you before anything progressed. And the fact that you discovered the relationship through somebody else makes it worse. If they genuinely believed there was nothing wrong with what they were doing, wouldn't they be comfortable telling you themselves? I don't believe every ex partner is permanently off limits forever. Life isn't that simple, but there are certain people where loyalty, respect, and history mean you handle things differently. And a close friend's husband of 12 years is certainly one of them. So for me, 2 years isn't the problem. The secrecy and who she chose are. And if you had to choose who betrayed her more, I'd say the friend. The husband no
Mm,
longer romantic loyalty once the marriage ended. Her close friend still owed her friendship. Yeah, and it
yeah.
goes on. Everyone's saying the same thing. She was never your friend. It goes on and on. So we'll leave it at that. But yeah, I don't. I think husbands and baby fathers are off limits.
No, no, they can have my baby fathers. That's fine.
Why are you saying
No,
that?
I'm because they're terrorists. But yeah, I think that's a big breach of. I don't think know if it's girl code. I just think of a friendship, of a relationship. And I don't. Whilst I don't say you must tell everybody your. Whilst I don't say you must tell everybody your business, I there's something in my room, people.
Is there?
Yep.
Do. All right, let's wrap up. Let's go on and deal with that.
Yeah. Let me deal with that, please.
Yeah, guys, we're gonna abruptly end, but don't go to your friends, man. Basically, don't do it.
Yeah. No, don't do it. Don't do
Don't
it.
do it. With that said, we're 12 minutes past 10, so we should end the show. But as usual, always an insightful conversation, D. Let you
Thank you
go
for
on and
having
do
me
what
as
you got
always.
to do. Yeah, man.
Really
See you in a couple
appreciate
of
it.
weeks. So anyway,
Yes, definitely.
all right.
Love and
Okay.
light to everyone. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Bye.
Bye.